Heather Robinson with Within Interior Design, and you're tuning in to the Burnt Hands Perspective podcast.
Ding.
Bing.
Ding, that's our cheesy opening right there. We did something different today. So we have some beautiful tequila. We have the beautiful Heather Robinson here, right?
Yes.
We throwing Palmer on there. I forgot. My man,
You
Big
can,
D.
whatever you want.
My Big D.
Yeah, Big D.
My man, Big D.
Big D Palmer.
All right, so, great friend of mine. Essential. Key
to your business.
to my business, but also key to most businesses. So what we're going to talk about today, obviously Burnt Hands Perspective goes through the restaurant world of all levels, but nothing more important to a restaurant than the design of your restaurant. How does your vision come to life? How does it go from food on a plate to actually making customers feel like they're in something more so deserving than the food actually. So something that matches, if your food is so spectacular, right, your atmosphere should be matching or better. That's how I feel.
On
right?
the same level.
It's when people spend $1 million in a restaurant to serve a chicken parmesan. That's the problem, right? So, Heather, you have been in the design world and you're very well known, especially locally. You have stuff going on all over the place. You're at all levels, not only with restaurants. Actually, I think restaurants, correct me if I'm wrong, is probably your least portfolio, right? I think I'm probably your...
Well, if you can include restaurants inside of country clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like taverns and whatnot. We do a number of those, but you're correct. This, we've only done probably 5 or 6.
Well, let me tell you, those 5 or 6 are amazing. And what I have going on here with your design is friggin' crazy. So it's funny you just mentioned that because I wasn't even going to go on that topic, but I didn't even think about it. So you're opening up a country club. You're designing the country club. In that country club is a restaurant, eatery, bistro, whatever it may be.
Right.
And you have to design that flow into the flow of the golfers, the entertainment, how they're going to come in, how they're going to come out. So everyone goes into the clubhouse for food.
Right.
Dining, drinking, beer,
Exactly.
whatever it may
Events,
be. Events.
Looking at the 18th hole.
So that's a huge part of your thing. So once again, no matter what industry you're in, the restaurant is here to haunt you.
You
right?
can't get away from it.
Can't get away from it. Cheers to that. Let's drink
Cheers.
this
Cheers.
Azul right
I know,
here.
we haven't. All right, so we got to have a little
Denim
sippy sip
shots.
in our
And I'm gonna
Canadian
have a sip,
tuxedo
'cause
look
I
of the
didn't sip
day,
it
which
yet.
we did not plan, by the way. We just all happened to have this, which was funny.
We were vibing.
Ooh,
But
wow,
it's a
that's
good way to start it
Forgot how good
off
that was.
because, yeah, design, like we were talking about in the other episodes, like, people start judging before they even walk through the door.
Right.
Yeah, and you've learned over the years, like the aesthetics and things that work in a restaurant and what don't, and what makes people, and I think most of your reviews, even some of the reviews you get are beautiful place, gorgeous design, service was like they'll rip on the service or things like that, but the
Yeah.
design you don't have as much of that.
No one
issue.
ever has said this place sucks.
Nobody.
No one. No one has ever said, I can't believe this place.
Yeah.
It's how pathetic. No one ever said that, right?
Right.
Everyone always says the amazingness of this place, and that all comes down to the design. So what I'm looking at my camera telling these people out there, when you go to design something, open up your restaurant, you need to come up with a couple of different things. One of them is, in the least of it, your menu. That should already been decided long ago. That you should have confidence in that. The second thing is your layout, your plan, and thirdly is how the flow is going to be involved with that plan, how the flow and the functional decor and how things are going to work and how the functionality of everything for percentages and how are you going to maximize the most out of that room to be able to sustain a career and a lifestyle and pay employees and everything else. So Heather, when you come into the restaurant world, talk a little bit about, what makes a restaurant design successful to you?
Sure. And unfortunately, a lot of my compatriots in the design world believe that a successful restaurant design is when you win design awards, and that's absolutely not true. It is 2 things. It comes down to the customer experience, and that is a positive one. And then second one, that the restaurant is profitable. You don't want to create the Taj Mahal and then you're not making any money. And there's tricks and tips on how to make things profitable with design.
So utilizing the room to maximum capacity of getting as much, we call it asses and seats.
Right.
To be able to turn around the tables, turn around every seat should be able to bring in a certain amount of money per year.
Exactly. And so what we like to do is do a percentage of back of house area versus dining room. And typically you want to have 35% to 40% back of house. And back of house includes the kitchen, auxiliary circulation in the restrooms, storage, whatnot. What's interesting about you and your spaces is that you are super efficient in the way you run your kitchen, which translates into more room in the dining area. So this space right here is just over 6,000 square feet. You are just under the average. You're 32% back of house. And then if you include the outdoor seating, you're actually closer to 23, 25% or so, like that. So that just means more money in your pocket.
Right.
More people, more, and it's really, it just is a testament to how you run your kitchen line, honestly,
Sure.
with that. And then also, I love design charrettes with you when we have our kitchen vendors in here trying to sell you every single piece of equipment. You know, and it takes up space, takes up money.
It takes up my money.
And
mostly.
we probably were in a dozen meetings where you were arguing with the kitchen vendor, which was the kitchen designer, which is a big no-no. You should never have your kitchen designer selling you the equipment because
Correct.
they're going to try to sell you a pasta
And then they end up
mixer.
hating me because I tell them to fuck off, and it's that simple.
It's yes. So
You've
there's
seen
some
it.
drama.
Literally.
Yeah.
You've seen it. I look right at somebody right in a meeting and say, you know what, I'm leaving. You guys can talk amongst yourselves about how this just went.
Sure. And if you would have gone with the package that they specified, your kitchen would have been twice the size.
Correct.
And you were very prudent on everything. We went through those specifications probably, I don't know, 20 times and got it down to what works for you, what you the sequencing was important and not bottlenecking some of the circulation for your staff. That was all super important in saving space. And that is why your number of back of house, your percentage is so low, which is
Sure.
awesome.
And when it comes to that, now moving on to that, with that, so it is easy. If I told you, Heather, I have $3 million design this place, that becomes a little bit more easy for you because now you can just go crazy. And of course, you could spend it very fast,
Right.
but it gives you a lot more brain power,
Sure.
right? Paper to floor, it happens faster.
Right.
So someone coming in with a budget more so, or a little bit of a tighter pocket, you still want to give them the best experience they can have for what they can afford, right? So now I consider that, I call that, my terminology for it, maybe it's wrong, I'm not a designer, but I call it functional decor. How can you really give someone advice if they're going to open up a restaurant and they don't have the millions of dollars? What non-expensive ideas do you have that you've helped me with that a lot? So there's a lot of things like, I want to do this, and this. Well, that's going to cost you this, and this, but we can
Sure.
do this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So what do you
So
think about
there's
that?
several things right off the bat to enhance the customer's experience and comfort. For instance, it's so simple. Purse hooks at the bar.
Yeah.
So simple. Those are $2.99. You know, get 10 of them. You call it a day. Second thing is what I would do is make sure we all have choices in table bases. There's the one that looks like a propeller that's really hard to put your feet on. They cost the same as the flat ones that are much more comfortable to put your feet flat on the ground
Right.
and rest them, if you can see. And I'm pointing to a table base right now, but I mean, that isn't any difference in cost right there.
Sure.
There's other things like use your equipment or your product or your inventory as part of the design. Instead of me specifying a light fixture that cost $50,000, why don't we light up your beautiful bourbon that has amber colors and bourbon? And so we light them from underneath, and it actually becomes a light fixture, and it's usable, it's functional, it's storage, it's
Right.
Those are things that don't cost any money. You were going to spend it anyways,
Right.
you know. So
You got to build a wall for your bourbon if that's in
Yeah.
the plan. So how can we utilize that and make it even better for a lot less money? LED strips are not much money
right.
in comparison.
And speaking of LED strips, making one thing that you should absolutely do, you got to have lighting in your restaurant, and preferably layers of lighting. You want everything at 2700 Kelvin. It makes the food beautiful. It makes your skin look beautiful. And 2700 Kelvin is a metric unit of color temperature. I don't know if you've been to a restaurant or a bar where it looks like a lunar landing is happening.
Yes.
Under like a bar, and it's distracting. It's just a simple specification of a warmer glow in all your lights, and making sure that, I mean, if you have to have lights in the ceiling, okay, I tend to steer away from. This isn't an office, so you're not doing surgery here.
Right.
So bring the light at eye level, tuck the light in columns. Like I said, hide it behind inventory, behind the bar. You know, these
Sure.
types of things. You need light anyways. Just put it in thoughtful places so that it's not doing
Do
it.
you find that when you're working with me as a chef compared to someone who you're building an office building for or whatever it is you're doing more of?
Yeah.
So is it different working with a chef in the restaurant world? Is it different designing? Is it a little bit more?
Yeah, well, and the great thing about
And
you
you can
is
go ham too. You don't you're gonna hurt my feelings.
Is it more fun
Is
or
it
is
a
it
pain in the
harder
fucking
or is
ass
he a
dealing
pain
with
in the
me
ass
as
all
a
the
chef?
time?
Because that's what you got to really say.
well,
here.
there's a couple things about you that I don't have with other clients. First of all, I can't tell you. I can't tell my other clients to go fuck off.
Right.
I can with you, and
course.
I appreciate that.
Of course,
And,
so do I. And they should learn how to do that because if they did, they'd find out that life is much easier.
And one of the things that I do remember is you didn't want lighting coming out of that column, and I was like, you absolutely need that.
Yeah.
Like, you are wrong.
Yeah.
I am right on this.
Yeah.
Please, and it's not going to cost you any more money.
Sure.
And I'm glad we stuck to it. And thank you for trusting me on that. Another thing about working with you as a chef, you have, not even as a chef, just you, Tony. You had incredible resources that helped us create these moments, these wow factors in this restaurant that I typically don't have. And I don't know if I can say his name, but Steve.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Steve in Rhode Island. I don't
Steve's
even
a
know.
Hell's Angel. He's a brother of mine in the club, and because of that, again, we reach out. We have resources all over the place with each other. Our community in our club is amazing, and some of our brothers in Hell's Angels have so many skills and such talent
He's
and
incredible.
such big business and such big corporate mindset that people don't even have a clue on what we're capable of
Yeah,
to do
and
on
so-
every level of good. You know, it's crazy some of the resources we do have worldwide. It's nuts.
Steve was great because when I said, I need a wood wall that bends, and he's like, got it, done.
Got it, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
needed-
down next Tuesday.
Exactly.
You
I'm
want a
like,
flatbed?
oh, he was actually down at my office within 24 hours with samples.
Oh
it was
my
amazing.
gosh. Oh, that's
we have half
cool.
a column still in our warehouse. I mean,
Yep.
anything was possible with him, and
Sure.
that was refreshing.
Yeah.
Because he actually helped engineer a lot of some of these quite complicated details. Like this one right here over the bar is it's not easy, and we had to work it in the field, but
Sure, I had
he
to,
made
I
it
had to go up
happen.
to Providence about 2 or 3 times to oversee, make sure everything was going great. It couldn't have done it. He actually, I think, did it better than what we expected. For sure.
I agree.
Me, anyway.
I
You know what
totally
mean?
agree.
Yeah, for me, anyway.
It-
But that and the PDR room, the private dining room, is just amazing because of the skill and the design work of it, and the
Yeah.
idea and the concept. You know how many times, Kristen, we sat trying to figure out how the fuck we were going to make that
How to
bar.
make that wall happen.
Nope, crumble
Well,
it up,
that's the
throw it
best
away.
part about creative process because I know as a designer. So, how many years have you been designing now?
Since the late 90s, so
Okay.
it's been
So you've seen
some
like
decades.
all the things. When you start a project, what is your first point of inspiration?
Well, really, the person I'm designing it for.
Okay.
Like, it was really important to have something authentic for Tony and for any client. You see these spaces in restaurants that just kind of rubber stamp what they see in magazines or
yeah.
Pinterest or
I know
what they did in
Pinterest
their
is
house.
huge. Yeah.
It was important to sit and talk with Tony about. We talked a little bit about that village in Italy, and one of the things that I really grasped from it it was like a fort that had some strong curvature on the
Yeah.
seawall,
Yep.
and that's why it was so important for us to put a curve in here. To
Yeah,
me,
sure.
like I wanted that to reflect where your family's from,
Sure.
and then on top of that, Tony had resources of an artist, a muralist,
Mm-hmm.
and he did incredible. And it kind of spoke to the Norfolk location.
Right, and he
which
did
I
that one
love
too.
that.
And the best part about Joe Hill is he's a local painter friend of ours. He does all the motorcycles. He paints our motorcycles. And he went from painting gas tanks and fenders to that huge mural. First time he's ever done one. And it's
Oh, I didn't even know
absolutely-
that.
Yeah, it's absolutely immaculate.
that
He
was
had no
his
idea
first
what he was
big
doing. He
one?
had no
Oh
idea
my
how he was
gosh.
going to go about it. He came over here and drew it all out. It took him months to do that painting, remember?
Yes.
But what a fucking job. I have people now that still wonder if that's a decal. It's so precise.
Yeah, it's
know?
pretty incredible. And another thing that I really appreciate about you is that you understood, like the word, the name Piccadilly came up a lot. Like, we don't want this to look like a Piccadilly. It is a massive open space.
Sure.
And you had some spatial recognition, like you understood that. So in a space, let's just some general guidelines here. If you have a restaurant that's 5,000 square feet or smaller, you always want 3 different seating types within that area. let's take Luce Norfolk, for instance. Luce Norfolk is very tiny. I don't even know how many square feet it is. It's tiny.
Tiny. It's 900.
Yeah, it's less than 1,000. You have how many seating?
We have 38 total. That's
But
the
how many
bar.
seating types would you say you have?
One. No, two.
Wrong.
Sorry.
No, you have 4.
4, yeah.
You have the bar, the high tops, you have that little booth, and you have the window ledge.
True. You're
So
right, yeah.
you get an completely different experience where you sit, which
That's
is
correct.
amazing for 900 square feet.
I'm thinking in height, but yes, you're absolutely
yeah,
right. Two different experiences.
in here, how many do you think you have?
Oh shit! Here's 7, 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And let's talk about
I'm
it.
like
We've
counting
got
6,
we've
7, 8.
we've got
Yeah.
the bar, we've got the
8.
chef's table, we've got a couple lounge seats here, so that's 3. We've got the private dining 4. We've got open dining 5. We've got banquettes 6. And then 7 is the high tables. 8 would be the outside.
Sure.
So 8, that's incredible. And what you typically want in a restaurant that's 5,000 square feet or more is around 5 or more. And you've nailed it with 8. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So
9 if you count the wine cellar or the wine room.
Oh,
True.
I didn't even
Yeah.
count that.
Yeah.
You can eat,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Seats in
special
there.
too.
So, if all you out there who are listening to this, who are opening restaurants, thinking about opening restaurants, or have opened a restaurant and do it better, my goal to get to you this information is to really understand what it is you vision and paying. Just go right to the fucking chase.
Go to the
You got to
point,
pay
yeah.
somebody proper to do the job right. If you're going to nickel and dime it because that's what you think you're going to do, you're going to have a nickel and dime product in the end, and it's going to be very obvious. It's very hard to try and save a few dollars instead of spend a few more.
Yeah.
Because if you spend a few more, it's going to come back to you better than if you try to save. It's just the experience is just lame. You got to have an experience. When you walk into a room, you have to have an experience. The only way you're going to do that is to get out of your own bubble and go look for the advice from the people who know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
It's Heather. That's why I talk. I call you. This girl probably sees my phone and wonders, "Whoa, God,
What does he want now?
I call
What
you- I
idea
call
does
her
Tony
for
have
everything,
today?
Everything. I don't even hesitate anymore. I call Heather. I got this idea. What do you think of this? Because it's a great idea in my mind, but she's always the one who's going to tell me straight up, "Fucking stupid." You know what I'm saying? Or awesome. You know what I mean?
Right, and there's certain things that you need to have in a restaurant to make it memorable, and that's the wow factor. What is it that you can make? And I see so many rubber stamped type of design, like that farmhouse look. It's, for instance, let's talk about floors, for instance. You really got to think about this when it comes to maintenance and then also the aesthetic value. A lot of people want to put wood floors in a restaurant. Well, that's expensive.
Yeah.
And if you want resin impregnated floors that are really going to withstand the type of traffic and furniture over, I mean, that's very, very expensive. So let's really think about this. If you came to me and said, we're going to do wood floors, I'd say absolutely not. We don't have the budget for it. What about these plastic wood floors? They're great. Just go down to Home Depot and pick them up, which people do all the time. Then you walk in, ribbon cutting day, you walk into the restaurant and it looks like a Centera urgent care
Yeah.
health clinic.
Right.
And
And it smells like it too with all the
the plastic.
plastic.
You got to keep plastic floors out of fine dining. That is like,
Yeah.
that's a huge thing right now I'm seeing. It's crazy. And
I think it's
and
budget
wears-
related, or
Budget.
a lack of knowledge, or people not going to the proper. They're cutting the corners. Like,
So
know
if
what I
you
mean?
want
Yeah.
to cut corners like that, just be ready to replace that within 18 months. And the same thing with going to Home Goods or Wayfair. I see these chairs everywhere. You are going to have to replace those chairs within 18 months, unless you spend a little bit more money, have a warranty, a 5-year warranty. You're going to have to be prepared for that. And I do feel like we did push the limit with quality. Like we did as best as we could with the budget we had, and
that best that we could, by the way, is better than most people's
Yeah,
opportunity.
it is.
So it's, I mean, that.
well, and we didn't want to half-ass it too. So,
Correct.
and
No,
I
I couldn't do
appreciate that about you. Is we had this amazing ceiling detail to go right above us. We couldn't afford it, so let's.
It was
let's
out of
face
the, it was a quarter of the budget.
Yeah, and it just didn't work. So we both agreed that let's revisit this in a couple of years. Let's
you
see if and we're revisiting it.
Well,
now,
here it is
which
now.
great.
We're in year 3, and we are revisiting it now.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
soon coming to Luce Secondo is going to be a whole new ceiling fixture for that ass.
Oh, good. Okay.
And it's almost like more of an installation. And the thing is with the ceilings, this is one of the biggest pitfalls with designers is the ceiling is really what you see.
Yeah.
when you walk into a restaurant.
You're right, and it sets and flows. It flows.
Sets the tone.
room.
It
Pick
really
a game.
does, and so let's not ignore it. So we set the backdrop with having acoustical ceiling tile, but we're now going to apply this facade soon with amazing textures on it and lighting that's coming down a little
Movement, basically.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's just I'm excited about it, but I appreciate that you saw the vision and we practiced a little restraint on. Not doing it half-assed and just saying, let's just do it by layers and let's make this
We
work.
did it really well to where it's beautiful, but it's only going to get even better.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those things where people walk in after it being like, holy shit, how can it be better?
You
Right.
left room to continue the design.
Exactly, and don't be hard on yourself as a designer if you can't fit it all in. You know, it'll come. So I do appreciate that you were patient with that. And another thing that is really important to be patient with is the seating height along with the table height. Most of the time, you're going to buy your tables separately from the vendor of the seats.
Sure.
So when somebody says the seat height is 19 inches, a lot of times they're doing that. They're taking a measurement of the pitch before it's sat in, and then you squish down depending on the quality of the foam. You may go down like 3 or 4 inches. So if you don't do a mock-up or samples prior, which a lot of times you don't have time to do that, you got to be okay. Almost every restaurant that I've ever seen, there has to be a little tweak after they come in. Whether it's
We had to tweak. Our banquettes were a little too low.
Yep.
And it was, someone would be sitting here and somebody would be up here looking down on them.
Yeah.
And it was uncomfortable. So we had to have that boosted up
Yes.
3 inches.
And you'll see it. Sometimes you can take this bar stool base and take it up and put maybe 1/4 inch plywood just to raise it up a little bit more comfortably at a bar.
The bar.
You know, sometimes you're in a crunch. You order these things, and you just have to understand. And I appreciate that you were patient with that.
Well, also there's a lot of
tweaking.
lack of experience, so people don't understand that until it's too late. And what we are trying to do, and what we're trying to do here is have our listeners pay attention to some of this stuff, take their notes, and if you haven't done it before, pay attention to what she's saying and what I've been through. That's what you really got to do is learn from people. Pay attention to podcasts like this that teach you or give you hints on how
Resources.
to... Resources. This is a resource. This is almost like a networking thing where you can just sit there and listen to free advice.
Right.
And
Yeah,
whether
and
you
I
take it or
think-
not, it's your choice. But
Well, a lot of our listeners, they may already have existing restaurants. So a lot of them go into remodels because, again, maybe they have been in business 5 years, 10 years. They're actually doing okay. They have some money now.
Right.
So they've got to look at what they can do, with what they already have in place that they can't move or can't afford to move.
Sure.
So, is there for the redesign of that, are there things that people should look out for?
Sure, and the time span that you gave is excellent. You typically want to take a hospitality space and refresh it between 5 and 7 years.
Okay.
And whether that's new carpet, new furniture, and maybe new bar stools. I do think you want to continually take an inventory of what's breaking down because it will break down.
And your regulars are going to notice it, and they're going to feel like their money is going to something. They're going to feel valued when they go in there. They're going to feel like you care about their experience.
Right.
There's a lot to it. Me, I'm about every 3 years. I refresh.
Yeah.
Luce Norfolk, every 3 years, I completely refresh.
You
Meaning
refresh. Well, you always have ideas. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
well,
He has a creative idea every
I have
week
to,
for his
well,
own-
I have to. So,
Yeah.
but outside, I'll re-facade the bar, or I'll redo the floors, or I'll reupholster everything, or paint the whole room again.
maintain it.
Everything
That's-
needs freshness.
Exactly.
To me, paint holds odor and holds old. So I like to refresh just the paint in a room is really big. But if you're out there and you have restaurants and you're the type of person that doesn't touch it, it's lame, man. Why not?
Right.
Unless you're so iconic that touching it would ruin it.
Yeah.
That's very far and few between, though. That's something them old school places that you've been going to since your grandparents brought you there. But the food is always good. That old Italian place with the checkerboard table and
New
the
York
gabagool
City,
hanging everywhere.
yeah.
That's a different type of story because that's what people are going there for.
Yeah.
But if you're in this world trying to be modern and stay relevant in the restaurant world, you got to remember that there's chefs like me who are going to consistently stay with we're going to flow. We're going to consistently go, and I'm going to be your competition all the time. I'm not going to let you sleep. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you have to understand that that's part of the game. You signed up for it. And if you're not going to refresh in 3 to 4 years, you're probably not going to do it in 7 or 8 either. And then it's going to slowly, you're going to dwindle. You're going to
People
become a
notice.
has-been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, they
people
do.
notice, and it starts to break down. I want to talk a little bit about the customer experience. And one place in a restaurant that I think is overlooked quite often is the bathrooms.
Oh yes, bathrooms are key.
I am such a huge judge of freaking bathrooms.
Same
oh
here.
My God.
And this is the one place. It's such a small, intimate space that you can really pack a lot of punch in bathrooms.
And people want to go in there and they want to leave. They're going in there to check. They're going into the bathroom. Got that. But they're also going in there for a quality check. They're going to check their sexy. They're going to check their meter, make sure their hair is right, their lips are done. The guys are making sure their tie's not crooked. Shit like that. So how are you going to check your sexy in something that's not sexy? You need to feel sexy in this room.
Well, and you need things
know what
that
I mean?
are functional, full-length mirrors, lighted mirrors, especially for women, and trying to take away the downlight that's horrible, like in a bathroom, especially for ladies. You want to be able to check your face. But with bathrooms, generally there's only a few doors in a restaurant. This is the perfect place to do a massive door. You know, you only have a few, and do beautiful hardware. These are lost opportunities I see all the time in restaurants, is the bathroom, the doors, even outside, you only have, 3 or 4 doors in this space. So even in the private dining, and I know I'm moving on, but with the doors there, we made sure those 2 doors were leather upholstered with nail heads. I mean, it didn't cost that much money, and the wow factor is incredible.
Incredible,
and we were able to seek out these awesome Cobra
the door
It
handles.
makes you
handles?
feel it makes you feel like you're in a place you deserve to be in that you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
Like if you're going to have and spend thousands of dollars on a private dining experience,
Yeah.
that room realistically makes you feel like you're being catered to in a private, very sexual way. It's just sexy.
I totally agree.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Even
it's
if
not a
you're-
curtain, like closing the curtain on a restaurant. I mean, we've seen that in some restaurants where it's like a shitty door they close and you're like, oh, you feel like you're at the airport lounge,
Exactly.
event space, because they just
Hotel lobby
close
or
this
something.
ugly door, and it's terrible.
Yeah, and so those are some of the places where you can just create experiences. Another thing that I've seen recently, right outside of Scottsdale, I don't know if you've been to the Wrigley Mansion before. Have you
I've
been
heard
there?
of it, but I haven't been there. No.
So there's this great restaurant called Christopher's, and it's for the guest experience. It's very small. It's a Michelin star restaurant. They only take a few people at a time, and they clearly are. Well, I look at it and going, this doesn't cost that much money to do, but it's an incredible experience. They only have the chef and one server, and they were like maybe 3 or 4 tables. Each table had like a little jewelry box, almost like you pull it out, and it had all your silverware. And the silverware was just, it's just incredible. They were pieces of art, and it was set for every course that you were going to have. So, it was kind of very experiential. You pulled it out, you're like, oh my gosh, look at those chopsticks, and it was a talking piece. It was very cool. So you were kind of like setting the table for yourself.
Love that.
Although you're spending thousands
Yeah,
of dollars
on your to serve your.
but it was amazing. Like we didn't think it was, and it was very intimate because you didn't have a lot of people. It wasn't like that French service with lots of people behind you.
Sure.
It was, but it was very much the design and the glide. It was like a sexy glide of the drawer
course.
and the table.
Yeah.
But it was very small things that it could make an experience, monumental. So that those are things that I think are clever. You just take some time to think about and talk through your service.
The best part about you is that you are out all the time. You're traveling, and your job and the contracts you accept and stuff bring you everywhere. And I know one thing about you as well is that if you're going to work on an airport wing or something like that, you're also at a restaurant after hours of work, and you're looking at the design there.
Right.
You're always taking in, absorbing. You're always studying what's new, what's trending, and you get excited about it, and you bring it to me. Even when I'm not in the process of building anything or anything like that, you still send me pictures of, look at this shit, and I'm like, oh yes, let's open a new place so I can put that in.
Put that in
You
there.
know what I mean? So there's so many great ideas that we have between the two of us, and I really encourage everyone out there to find somebody you can work with. Every department, whether it's your CPA or your bar manager but mostly your design. Your interior design is so important, and put some faith in them, and don't be so fucking hard-headed. Stand your ground, but don't be so ignorant to not pay attention to what they're saying. Trust in the fact that they know what they're doing and they've gone around doing it. And sooner or later you'll learn to trust them, and then you'll be asking them more than you actually believe in.
Yeah.
So it'd be like them asking you or telling you how not to cook their food. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
just trust. Just
Yeah.
trust, right? And that's what people need to do. Your money's important, and find someone who's going to care about your money like you are.
Or and as well, we always say, like, get feedback, go do your research. It helps you because you also have a GC, like general contracting background, and you know projects, you know how to build things. So
Sure.
you kind of can look at it from both angles of, okay, it's possible, but this is what it's going to take to make it happen.
Right.
So you have to find the people who literally have, maybe it's, it's great having your young designers who have fresh ideas that are a year out of school, but they haven't seen all the mistakes that have cost money.
You are 100% correct with that. And one of the pitfalls that I see with designers right now is if you have an idea and you cannot draw it and understand how it comes together, it's not an idea. It's not fleshed out. So what we really strive to do is, like somebody comes to me and says, "Hey," and one of my designers, "Hey, what if we do this?" I'm like, "Well, draw it. Show me how one would build it, so we can put numbers to it." So that's you have
It
to
could
be
be a
able to
great
do
idea, but
I've
if you
seen
can't make it
designers-
happen without tearing down, or you have a structural element that's like load bearing in your restaurant, we can't
Exactly.
change that. So you have to work around it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's that is it is a challenge sometimes in the design field.
Yeah, I'm sure. And it must be a challenge for you too when someone's always telling you no to every idea you come up with. That's gotta suck.
So there is a lot of ego with restaurant owners or any business owner, and let's face it, that's how they got there, is because of their confidence. So you do have to keep that in the back of your mind and playing that like delicate dance of not offending them or their lack of knowledge, but just working through that. But
I think there's a science and a dance. Once again, there's a dance to standing your ground and also letting them talk. There's a you have to, as an owner, you have to let it go, but you have to stand your ground because it's going to make you go back to the drawing board and think, and that's going to create more ideas all the way around. And if you guys can have a good balance on that together and not look at it negative every time someone says, no, I don't like it or something, if you can open up your mind, go back to the drawing board and then come back, that's when it opens up. So
Right.
ease down on the ego and just communicate, talk. No one's going to be perfect in their decisions at all. There's always going to be something, and you're always going to argue, maybe standing around too much, but you got to chill the fuck out sometimes and just talk it out.
if you have those basic directives, like we said in the very beginning of this, is that, hey, what makes a restaurant design successful? That the restaurant's profitable and that there's a good customer experience. That typically answers some of the conflict or the challenges. Like, is this going to add to profitability or the customer experience? And a lot of times it's no.
Right.
It's the designer's ego. Oh, I wanted to use this somewhere in a space somewhere. So you kind of
Doesn't mean
reel
it's
that
right
in.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it works both ways.
Sure.
Well, so do you have any like kind of last fire off questions before we, like, are there any other things that you can think of to ask that maybe someone who's looking to redesign
Yeah,
their space
sure.
would ask?
What when it comes to restaurant jobs, restaurant contracts, what do you not accept? What are your couple of key no's? I'm not gonna touch that. What are a couple of those? In your
Red
experience?
flags, maybe?
Red flags, or what type of people?
Well, we had one recently. Do you remember?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, in general.
In
so
general,
you can use it
just
though. That
things
could be
that you
one
would
of
say,
them.
this isn't a project for me, like that you guys need to not do
Sure.
this right now.
So somebody came to me probably 6 months ago and said, he actually sounded like you. I thought it was you on the phone. And he was like, hey, I'm opening an Italian restaurant. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes,
imposter.
I want it to look just like Luce. And I was like,
Oh.
well, that's not going to happen, sir.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm
gosh.
going to be serving very similar things. And he literally wanted to rubber stamp what you have.
course.
And I
Welcome
said,
to
well,
the
that's,
fucking party, buddy.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
yeah. And
Good luck.
I think I would think that most interior designers or business owners would have a little bit of integrity. Maybe I lost out on I don't know, let's say $25,000, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that. Like I felt like this was a culmination of you,
Right.
and where your experiences took you, and our journey together of creating this. I wasn't gonna. It wasn't
So
for
did
sale.
this person open one yet?
I don't know.
Okay,
I'll
so
go
there's
with
one
no.
red flag. Don't try and copy somebody else's idea.
Well, and he came right out and said it, which was weird.
Yeah.
So
that's
like,
very ballsy.
yeah. So I was like, no, I don't think so. So that's happened. Really understanding someone's budget too. Like, let's really talk numbers. Like, what is it? And we don't sell. We try not to sell product. So, I'm not in here to sell you anything other than a beautiful design. So when somebody is going to hold that number, and I'm like, no, I really need to know so we can really put, a construction estimate
Yeah,
together.
they think they're holding the poker cards back or something.
Yeah,
So
that's
budget
tough.
is so that can be determined big
And
time.
if it's a panel of people, that is, I try to stay away from that. That is hard. When you are designing by committee, it's almost impossible. Now with country clubs, you do have to do that, and that is challenging. That is one of probably the
Because
hardest
you're
things.
opinionated people, and there's a lot of them.
A lot of
and
it,
then
yeah.
a lot, not just with country clubs, but if you design through committee, sometimes you want to find out who's on those committees. Like for instance, there was one restaurant we were working on, and somebody was a vendor of kitchen equipment. So yeah, of course my design was stupid, or the dining room was too big, or
Conflict of
you know,
interest.
so,
Yeah.
So sometimes you gotta be transparent. I think of where
You
everybody's.
got to vet a little bit too.
Yeah,
Yes,
you do.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to sign up for a shitty ass experience either. And
No,
it can be. If you sign up, if you're 6 months into a
Yeah.
build, man, and living miserably, your creative juices flow goes away, and you don't even want to.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
It's like being a chef. If we have to cook so many times for the same people, it gets old because there's a lack of appreciation at some point in time.
Right. We want to push the boundaries. We also want it to become real.
Right.
So you want it to
You want to
happen.
have the right numbers.
Yes.
So yeah, no, this is
Success
awesome.
comes in the final product, really.
Sure,
You know what I
sure.
mean? And well, that's awesome. Where can these people find you? What you got? Any social media stuff or any of your companies? What you got?
So my company is Within Interior Design. We are located in Norfolk. On Instagram, we're pretty active there. Within Interior Design, .com. It's withindesigns.com. Within Interior Design was already taken, but but yeah, we're
We'll
located
put all that
in
below
Norfolk.
too, so
yeah.
they can click on the link to check out the designs because you have some
Sure.
pretty cool ones
Oh,
on there.
thank
They're
you.
amazing.
So
They
we
look
do
amazing.
country clubs, yachts. We do a lot of federal work. A lot of federal work, and you wouldn't probably.
You just did a fancy yacht not long ago.
Oh, I did.
Fancy schmancy. Huh?
Yeah, I
Fancy
did.
schmancy.
Still can't talk about that one?
I'm still. Yeah, there's an NDA. So,
Okay, all right.
so, yeah, but it's been good though. I'm happy to take a look at anybody's project. We do have a team of 6 designers, soon to be 7. We are on the first floor, and the second floor is my construction team, and which is great because I have a reach back of like, hey Heather, how much is this going to cost? We were talking about this second phase. I could
Yeah.
just go upstairs and go, okay. What's the structural number on this? What's this? What we could
You
really
can get
put
numbers
some
quickly,
real numbers on
which
it.
is a
Sure.
huge
And it's all
asset.
direct. It's
Yeah.
right there and
Yeah.
then. And you deliver instantly. Your team is very fast, very responsive, and probably sometimes too responsive because it's like, holy shit. But it's a wonderful thing. And
I love it.
Well, that's great. So if you want some help in this area from Heather and her team, look her up. She gave you the plugs. If you're looking to do something like Luce or Luce Secundo, or take ideas that have already been out there, go fuck yourself. You're never going to succeed. You're a loser. And I hope your
Well, we
shit
can come
doesn't
up with
work
new
well
ones.
because
Yeah,
you can come up with
they
your
can
own
come up with
fucking
new
idea.
designs, but
Exactly.
a great resource.
Find her to come up with new shit. Don't copy anybody out there that's lame.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, subscribe, drop your questions below. We'll feed those back to you. So if anybody has any random questions, we can always answer those too. So
Sounds
this was
good.
awesome. I'm
Thanks
so
for all
glad
your help.
you came on
Love
here.
ya.
Thank you. Love you too.
Yeah.
Ciao for now.